want to tell you something, a little something about this football program. You may or you may not know. When head coach Dave Nelson of the Minnetonka High School football program takes the field with his players, he's not just focused on winning a game. He and his staff have a tangible, real-life goal: developing quality men for life while pursuing excellence on the field. These are powerful words, spelling out a very lofty ideal that can be easily written off as last year's football program's motto. But this is not the case. Parents of participating young men and the supporting Minnetonka football community in the form of the Minnetonka Touchdown Club and its board have created the Men of Character Committee. This committee has been fashioned to support and propel the overarching ideals of Coach Nelson's football program by exposing its young men, all of you, to impactful real-life experiences off of the football field. On Thursday, January 27, 2011, the Men of Character Committee kicked off a planned monthly Men of Character mentoring talk series. This exciting event features a man of character from our greater community sharing his real-life experience and stories in an effort to support the mentoring talk series goal: help develop men of character, quality citizens, and leaders through community mentoring. This morning, we're privileged to be hosting Mr. Kevin Warren as our mentor. Kevin Warren is the Vice President of Legal Affairs and Chief Administrative Officer for the Minnesota Vikings. He's responsible for various day-to-day activities for business, operational and administrative issues, special projects, legal affairs, and strategic planning. That's all a mouthful, and even more to do, I'm sure. He also serves as the Vikings' primary liaison with the NFL. His extensive background in athletics and unique perspective in both law and business have been instrumental to the Will family ownership group for the entire 6 seasons of their stewardship of the Minnesota Vikings. Warren begins his 13th season in the NFL and his 7th with the Vikings in 2011. Please give a very warm Minnetonka football welcome for Mr. Kevin Warren.
Thank you. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Thank you very much. I get an opportunity to speak around the country, and that's the second best introduction that I've had. The best one was about 8 years ago. I got a chance to speak to Harvard Law School, and the dean who was going to introduce me, something happened in the morning, so he was running late, so they asked me to introduce myself. And otherwise, no, on a serious note, I appreciate it, and every time I'm just humbled, every time I hear those different things, because I'm a shy person, so it's hard for me to blush when I hear things that people say about me. Today, I'm glad to be here. Coach Nelson, just thank you so very much. It truly, truly is a pleasure to be here. If I begin to perspire a little bit, excuse me, I'm an early morning person, so I get up early and read my word and say my prayers and work out every morning. So it takes me a while to kind of get my body temperature down, so I'm still got a little lather going. So my wife to this day teases me, because unfortunately I did the same thing on our wedding day, so I was sweating when I was taking the vows, so she swears to this day that I was nervous, but after 19 years of marriage, everything has turned out okay. I just want to jump right to it. This is an awesome program. It's so wonderful to see people come here, especially early in the morning, all the different things you could be doing, and I'm humbled and honored by it. I want to talk to you today, and it's interesting, when I was thinking about what I was going to say to you today, I always try to come up with an acronym so we can remember it, because that's the only way I got through school, is I would have to come up with acronyms so I can remember different things. but the acronym I came up with this morning was DAD, D-A-D. And I had no idea that there would be fathers here. So as I was preparing my thoughts and what I would say, the acronym that came to my mind was DAD. And so what I wanted to share with you today, the first letter D that I want to talk to you all about is dreams. I think it's so very, very important, regardless of your age, regardless of your background, regardless of your social economic status, regardless of your financial situation, is that you have to have dreams. And I vividly remember, even younger than you all are in here, sitting in the classroom, or while I was working out, or whatever the case may be, even at home, I was a big dreamer. And when I say dreams, I'm not talking about with my head's in the clouds, but as far as visualizing what I wanted my life to look like. I think the biggest mistake that people make, especially young people today, is that we don't dream enough. For whatever reason, whether it's because of TV, video games, or cell phones, or whatever the case may be, computers, we don't really take the time to really dream. And when I say dream, I remember vividly at your age, going to a football camp, going to a basketball camp, and really in my mind, making my mind up and visualizing that one day I was going to be able to get a scholarship to college. One day I was going to go to college and graduate. One day I would go on and get a graduate degree. One day I would go on and get a law degree or a medical degree. And I didn't have the best situation growing up. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. We lived in a 1,300 square foot house in South Phoenix. I don't know how many people have been here in Phoenix, but I'm from 24th and Broadway in Phoenix. So I did not grow up how everything looks right now. And so I had to come up with dreams in my mind. There's certain things I dreamt about what my wife would look like, how many kids we would have, what kind of car I would drive, what kind of home I would drive, even dreamt about what my kids would be one day, where we would vacation, different people that I would meet, all of these different things. And I know it may sound crazy, but one thing I want to challenge you today, as I said, the first D is to learn how to dream. Now you'll have a lot of people, or you may have some people, that may tell you when you share your dreams with them, that they may try to discourage you. And what I'm telling you today, one, you need to be careful about who you share your dreams with. Now people like Dave Nelson, who really want the best for you, that's fine, but there may be some people who call themselves your friends that really don't want you to dream. So just be sensitive of who you share your dreams with, but know in your heart that dreams do come true, and you just got to be willing to work hard and accomplish those goals. I had a dream one day because I didn't know anyone who had done it. So when I went to the St. Louis Rams, my first job in the NFL was in 1997. I was not the first choice, I wasn't the second choice, I was the third choice for the position. And the first 2 people accepted the job, and then they ended up turning it down for either family reasons. One guy didn't want to move from LA. One person rejected it because his wife didn't want to move. So I was kind of the person that they just said, okay, well, you're the last man standing, we'll give you the job. I didn't care, because it was a dream of mine to work in the National Football League. And when I took the job in July of 1997 with the St. Louis Rams, there was one person who believed in me, and I'm still extremely close to him. He's like a father to me today, is Coach Dick Vermeil, to this day. But when he hired me, we would sit around and talk, and I told him, Coach, I want to win a Super Bowl with you. And he had been to the Super Bowl years earlier with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they lost to the Raiders. But I said, Coach, I want to win a Super Bowl with you. And I used to tell that to people. The St. Louis Rams in the 1990s, I don't know if people know this, were the losingest NFL franchise in the 90s. The only other team who had lost the same amount of games was the Cincinnati Bengals. They were the losingest NFL franchise in the 90s. They were horrible. And so when I went in there in 1997, and fortunately with people like Coach Vermeil and other people, we all had the dream to win a Super Bowl. People thought we were absolutely crazy. Our first year there, you know what our record was? 5-11. So when I went home, back to Kansas City and Phoenix in the off season, I would talk to people and I would tell them, they said, how's that Super Bowl coming? coming pretty good, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's coming pretty good. You guys were 5-11 this year, weren't you? Yeah. But how's it coming? I said, it's coming well. They would kind of chuckle. Yeah, good luck. So I went back the next year. You know what our record was? 4-12. So we did worse. So when I went home, they really would say it's coming pretty good. 9 games in 2 years. That's really moving toward a Super Bowl. That'll get you there, won't it? And Coach Vermeil said something to me, and I'll never forget. I was getting a little discouraged, and he said, what people don't realize sometimes is that when you're building a house, you got to start with the basement. And so people may drive by, and they may not see anything above ground. But he said, we're working on the foundation and the basement. And you know what our record was the third year? 16-3. And won the Super Bowl. So I say all that to say I get emotional talking about it because I know the work that went into it for us to do it. And I don't wear my ring much. I haven't worn the Super Bowl ring. I just wore it today because I was going to talk about it probably a year. I'll probably wear it once a year. But one of the reasons why I brought this bag today, excuse me for a second. Is when I went to the Rams, there was a guy by the name of Robert Jones. Robert Jones was on the Dallas Cowboys in their great years. He was a linebacker from East Carolina. And I had gone to his house for a barbecue. And he had a Super Bowl trophy in his house that Jerry Jones had given to all the players. And I said to myself then, I said, man, I want one of those. I want one of those. And not only I want it, I'm willing to work for it. And so I said to myself, not if, but when we win our Super Bowl, I'm going to tell our ownership and we're going to get everyone in the franchise a Super Bowl trophy. And so what I brought today is I keep this on my case at home. This is a miniature Lombardi trophy. We made 400 of them. 400. This one says 96 of 400. Vince Lombardi Trophy, Super Bowl 34 champion, St. Louis Rams, Kevin Warren, Vice President. So when people tell you that you can't achieve something that God has put in your heart, I'm telling you right there, you can do it. How many people in here know someone that has a Super Bowl trophy? We got one person in here. But I'm proud to say it's not many people in the world that got one of those and one of these. And it's not about me. This is not about me being cocky or bragging. I'm just telling you this is about dreams. And there are so many great dreams in this room right now. There are people, there are young men in this room right now that may create the next Google or the next Facebook or maybe the next Joe Montana or the Vince Lombardi. And I'm telling you today, whatever God has put in your heart to become, I don't care where you are right now in your station in life. You may be 13. You may have a rough family situation. No matter where you are right now, hold on to your dreams, keep dreaming, and keep working hard. Because I'm telling you right now, you can accomplish your goals. So D, that's the first one, dreams. The second one is adversity. Some people call it testing. A lot of you all just went through final exams, and one of the reasons why I wanted to start early today so I could leave early is that there's a continuing legal education seminar going on downtown. Every year to keep your law license, you have to go to 12 hours. And so I had to pass the bar exam to become a lawyer. It was a test. Some of us have had personal tests in here. Family issues, financial issues, health issues. 2 years ago, I got an opportunity to go to the Nike headquarters in Oregon. And as I was walking through the campus, heading toward a meeting, and if you notice, I actually found a pair of Minnetonka blue Nike shoes. Isn't that good? I mean, I had to search hard this morning, but as I was walking through the Nike campus, I saw all these people kind of stopping and starting and jumping and running in circles and hopping and sprinting. So I'm walking with this executive who I'm with. I don't really want to say anything, and I'm like, am I in the right place? I mean, these people kind of, I'm walking, people flying through me and behind me and stopping and all kind of stuff. So I finally asked the guy, after about 15 minutes, I said, I don't mean to be rude, but what's going on here? And he said, oh, we're in this section where these people are testing our shoes. You can go on the website and sign up to be a Nike shoe tester. Right now, you can do it right now. Don't believe me, when you get done, you can do it. And they'll send you shoes on a regular basis that they want you to test. Because they don't sell basketball shoes that they just created in a lab. They make them and they put them in a box. They put them in Dick's Sporting Goods and you go buy them. So they hire people to actually, they'll send them the shoes. You got to wear them, you test them, and then you call them and you give them your results. Hey, those basketball shoes you sent me, when I went to make a cut, my foot kind of slid a little bit. Or after a game, my heel was hurting. Or they don't have enough this, or they're too tight, or they're too narrow, or whatever. And then they make the tweaks. And the reason why that's important, I was thinking about this morning, any great thing in life will be tested. If you're destined for greatness, you're going to be tested, whether that's personally or professionally. How many people in here, let me see a show of hands, how many people in here would like to fly on a plane that had just been built but had never been flown? How many people would like to get on that plane? Yeah, you're right, I mean, me neither. So I can't tell you the number of hours that when they build a plane, they fly it. They fly it at high altitudes, they fly it at low altitudes, they fly it in storms, they fly it in turbulence, they spin it, they drop it, they do all these different things. So when you get people on it, that they know Delta Airlines can say, we have tested this plane. Nike can say with these shoes, before they sell them to you, because what they don't want to do is sell these shoes in the store and all of a sudden find out that once you run in them for 2 minutes, the soles come off. Because then they got to recall the shoes and start all over. So what I'm telling you is that in all of our lives, in your life, if you haven't been already, just like you took final exams, just like you go through testing drills, you will be tested. But don't look at that as a negative. Look at it as a positive, because anything worthwhile, whether it's a pair of Nike shoes, whether it's an airplane, whether it's an automobile, whatever the case may be, anything worthwhile, anything that people can depend on, shoes, cars, food, automobiles, they must be tested. Must be tested. So if you haven't been tested, you will be tested. So right now, either you're taking a test right now, you're getting ready to take a test, or you just finished the test that's getting graded right now. So I don't want anyone in here to get discouraged and get down when you go through testing, when you go through adversity, when you go through trials. Be willing to face adversity, because in order to be great, you got to be able to face adversity. So the last one, the D. And being a lawyer, I said I probably was safe for me to do this. I borrowed one of my son's airsoft guns. It's not loaded. But I wanted to bring you this. The reason why I brought this is there's a man by the name of Danny Simpson. How many people here know Danny Simpson? I've heard the name. In September of 1990, a man by the name of Danny Simpson in Canada was arrested for a bank robbery. He took a gun, he walked in a bank in Canada, he was down on his luck, he was struggling financially, he was depressed, and he said, I need money. I'm gonna rob a bank. So he went in this bank in Canada with a gun, robbed the bank, and he got away with $6,000. So in his mind, he thought, okay, I did all right. That was pretty easy. I got $6,000. Well, later that day, the police tracked him down, found him, and arrested him. They took him in. The officer who actually did the intake, as he was doing the intake, he was looking at the gun, and he happened to be a gun expert. And he noticed that the gun that Danny Simpson used to rob the bank earlier that day was a 1918 Colt 45 Winchester semi-automatic gun. Why was that important? They only made 100 of them in the entire world. Only 100 of those guns existed. Only 100. Why was that important? Is that Danny Simpson used that gun to get $6,000. The gun that he used to get the $6,000, the story is told, true story, that if he had gone to even a pawn shop with someone who didn't even know what they were doing, if they had someone in there like me who was working, the minimum that they would have given him for that gun was 12 grand. If he had gone to an experienced gun collector, they would have given him in excess of $100,000. Why is that important? That's a true story. Is that the reason why that's important, the last D is decisions. Is that he made a decision to rob a bank to get $6,000. So let's look what happened. He was arrested. So when you're arrested, what do? They take the $6,000 back that you got from robbing the bank. So they took the $6,000 back. He then was convicted, so he got 6 years in prison. What do they do with the weapon that you used to rob a bank? They take that back. So he lost the $6 grand. He lost 6 years of his life. He lost the gun that he had as a family gift. And probably most of all, he lost his reputation. Why is that important? Because everyone in this room, especially these young men, have been blessed with certain gifts and talents. You all can be great. There is nothing on the face of this earth that you can't do. But the reason why the decisions are important, the people that you spend time with, your buddies that you hang out with, the girls that you hang with, all of the different decisions that you make on a daily basis will impact your life. And if Danny Simpson had taken the time to do a little research and have a little faith, he would have not only he could have probably gone and even on consignment got $50,000 to get his life in order and gone back and still received the gun. But he ended up giving it all away. He lost 6 years of his life. He lost the $6,000 that he robbed from the bank. He lost the gun and he lost his reputation. One decision. The whole bank robbery that happened took 10 minutes. You all will be faced with decisions today. And I'm not talking about, like I talked to my 12-year-old son, did you brush your teeth? Now, I'm not talking about decisions, did you brush your teeth or didn't brush your teeth. But you will be faced with serious decisions on a daily basis. Are you going to smoke a joint that somebody has? Are you going to just drink a little alcohol? Are you going to have sex? Are you going to run a red light? Are you just going to, steal a pair of cleats that's not yours or a laptop? Are you going to steal someone's phone? Are you going to send a tweet? These are decisions that will change the course of your life. And one of the things that I want to challenge you all today is to be very, very cognizant. I'm not telling you not to have fun, but just make sure that the way the world is today, all these decisions matter. You look at a guy like Cam Newton, he ended up being the #1 draft pick. But look at all the scrutiny that he went under, that he had to deal with all of these issues supposedly that he had in Florida, all of these different things. So even in high school, even this summer, focus on always making good decisions. Will we make mistakes? Absolutely, we'll make mistakes. But please don't intentionally make any bad decisions. So as I said, as I prepared to come here today, and I thought about the DAD acronym, dreams. That's why I brought that trophy. So whatever is in your heart, whatever it is, you may sit here and say, I want to be a prime minister of wherever. I want to be president of the United States. You can do it. Dreams do come true. Visualize what you want your life to look like and be willing to work for it. Adversity. We're all going to be tested. Today, tomorrow, a year from now. Think about those Nike shoes. If you're worthwhile, if you have value, you're going to be tested. And then the last D is decisions. Danny Simpson. He had a gun that was worth so much more than what ended up happening to him. I'm just glad that I could come here this morning, spend a little time with you, share with you, to tell you that you are great. Greatness is inside of you if you're willing to work, that you have been blessed. We live in a wonderful, wonderful world. You got great football coaches. We have lights, we have air conditioning, we have heat, we have food, things that we take for granted. I've been fortunate to travel around the world. There are people around this world that would cut a limb off to have a warm shower, or to have some orange juice and bananas, or have an opportunity to come to be able to compete. And sometimes the good Lord allows things to happen in our lives. And it takes us to realize that 2 years ago, when we were playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh, I got up one morning, got on the treadmill, went for my normal run, and I noticed I couldn't get my eye to, it seemed like every time I was wiping my eye with my towel, it was still irritated. Just thought I got sweat in my eye, finished my run, and then on the charter flight, I noticed I was trying to eat some salsa, and it didn't taste right. Something wasn't right. I thought it was bad or whatever the case may be. And within a day, I woke up and the right side of my face was paralyzed. They told me I had some deal, Bell's palsy. I never even heard of this. So within a day, I'm in an MRI machine. They're doing CAT scans, brain scans. They didn't know if I had a brain tumor. And fortunately, they told me, hey, some people, it never comes back. Your face is paralyzed for the rest of your life. So I continued to work out, drank a lot of water, said a lot of prayers, and I was one of the fortunate people. Over about a 3-week period, a month period, it came back normal. And the reason why I say that is that really, again, was another test for me to learn to appreciate the gift of life. And that every day that you get a chance to wake up, no matter how early it is, and brush your teeth. And I used to tell my wife, I said, I never learned to enjoy using mouthwash like I did when I had Bell's palsy. Because every morning, when I would use mouthwash, I couldn't use it because I couldn't do this. So when I tried to rinse my mouth out, it would go everywhere. And so every morning, that was my challenge to me. You know, because I tried to rinse my mouth and it'd go all over the place. But every day, it got a little bit better and a little bit better. And I remember that day that I could actually do that, and I was ecstatic. And so I say that to you today. It truly is a blessing to stand here before you. It's a blessing to be here before you. And I'm just so encouraged to see all of you here, that you're in a great, great football program. That as was said, it's not about football, it's about life. So I wish all of you all the best wishes, health, happiness, but remember to dream. Remember to be prepared for adversity, because that means you're doing something productive. And remember to make good decisions. Thank you very much. You can ask me anything.
I have a question for you if nobody's going to ask one. You talk about adversity. In your career right now, it seems to me that there's huge adversity going on with football.
Yeah.
How do you cope with this kind of adversity with your livelihood?
That's a great question, because you're right. We're in the middle of what they call a work stoppage, a lockout. And it has been challenging, for me personally, because I'm one of the people inside who has to make recommendations to ownership as far as what we should do, shouldn't do, and you're making decisions regarding people's lives. But again, as I talked about earlier, just you got to embrace adversity, and what we decided to do is use this time to get better as an organization. Instead of, a lot of other teams made the decision to fire employees, reduce their salaries, put them on furlough. We made the decision not to do that, and basically invest in people and give them an opportunity to get better and do all those things that they never really had the time to do. So it has been a challenging period. I'm confident that they will get a deal done, but we've tried to use this time to work on all those projects that we've always kind of pushed to the back of our desk because of time. And one thing we've done when we made that decision and pulled all the employees together, and they really did appreciate it, and I think we've gotten better as an organization for that reason. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you do, the Minnesota Vikings players, kind of bring them together and help them deal with the player issues and fame and fortune? Are there things that you do, like code of conduct?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. We have a gentleman by the name of Les Pico, and he's our director of player development. And so that's what his job is. He's the point person for continuing education, all of the counseling, family issues, and really just to help them make the transition into professional sports. Because one thing you have to realize, there are a lot of businesses and a lot of industries that are, you don't want to say that they're designed for failure, but they may make it very difficult to succeed. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in the NFL, the players are only paid during the season. So our players get 17 paychecks. So they're not paid during the off season. And one of the biggest challenges for young people who come in who ended up making a lot of money is to realize that you're paid over 17 pay periods, but you got to treat it like you're paid over a year. And one of the most disheartening things for me to see is when you got a guy that comes in who was in college, who made no money, and he comes in and makes an enormous amount of money, and by April or May of the next year after the season, that he's looking for an advance from the team. And it goes back to what I talk about, just decisions. So I've told people, you will never be too late in making a good decision. And I'll say that again, you'll never be too late in making a good decision. There are a lot of people come, you gotta get in this deal. Today it's closing, the offering's closing, we need it today. I've learned over time, you'll never be too late in making good decisions. And so I tell a lot of our young players, all those desires that you have in your heart, the big house, the fancy cars, if you take care of your career and take care of your money at the appropriate time, you can do it. And even at the appropriate time, you don't need to go buy a brand new one. Buying a 2-year-old car with 12,000 miles on it, it drives exactly the same, and it may be half of the cost. So it's back to making just good decisions. Any questions? One more? Okay, God bless you all. Have a great season.